So, ladies and gentlemen, hello, how are you? In slickness and in health here, Beal. And without further ado, let's get into episode number 2 of My Girlfriend is Jealous Because I've Lost a Lot of Weight. So, if you haven't watched the previous episode, please go and watch it. We are talking about a fella here who has been having some problems with his girlfriend because he has lost weight. His girlfriend hasn't. She is a little bit chunky. She's on the chunky side. And they've been having some problems. So let's actually go and see more specifically. We have been together for a year and a half. I think she's great and this and that, but she has had a busty build, but it's still chunky. We got into an argument because she thinks I'm being selfish and arrogant because I've lost a lot of weight, very libers to be exact. We talked about it and went back to normal. First of all, why could you get into an argument because she thinks you're being selfish and arrogant because you have lost a lot of weight? If you have lost a lot of weight, it means that probably you have done something very good for you. This is an improvement, and she should be there, supporting you. So this just shows that she has a problem with what happens. And again, as I said in the previous episode, this probably reflects a wider problem that she has been having with herself. Anyway, let's move on. Today is my grandmother's birthday, and my whole family is planning a pretty fancy dinner at her house. We were asked to come in semi formal or formal clothing. They told me to invite my girlfriend, so I did and told her the dress code. I was excited because I haven't seen my grandmother in a while and she hasn't met my girlfriend. I asked my girlfriend what she was planning on wearing, and she told me probably a dress. I said cool and texted her today that I was on my way to pick her up. When I showed up to her house, she came out wearing a strapless shirt and jeans. She got in the car and didn't really know what to say. I just said, I thought you were wearing a dress, and she said she didn't feel comfortable in it. I said, okay, but they specifically asked if we could come dressed semi formally, at the least. She sighed and said she thinks she looks fine in the dress she was going to wear. I tell her, babe, we have to semi formal, just please cooperate with me. I'll leave and help you and find something to wear. Okay, I understand how this feels. She then gets out of the car and says she's staying home. She then starts crying and accusing me of thinking I'm hot shit because I've lost weight. I'll never understand her dilemma. You see what she's doing, okay? She's just taking, the point. She's just taking attention off of where it should be. She's just distracting the conversation, and she's just, you know, diverting from where she needs to go. For example, she says that she's chubby and she doesn't fit in the dress. She understands that this cannot be a mistake of anyone else apart than her. Okay? And yet, what does she do? She starts crying and accusing me of thinking that I am hot and stuff like that, and that I will never understand her dilemma. So, at the end of the day, what we have here is that we have, she's cultivating the impression that the boyfriend, is like a manipulative guy who doesn't really understand her, so she is the victim. Okay, this is exactly what a very spoiled, and in a bad way, in a really bad way, spoiled person would do, and many women do it in general. But in general, it has to do with a very spoiled person, which has their own problems. Again, as I said, we see a consistency here, a continuity, with what I was saying on last episode. And actually, I have seen that we also have a following episode where we are going to have our epilogue, our conclusion on the story. So please stay with me, guys, for the next one as well, where we actually see some more things. Anyway, I tried to reason with her and she wouldn't listen. Exactly. When you have a person like this at this state of mind, where they try to defend themselves because they want to believe, or they want to believe. I say it again because they know that they're not, you know, that they're not right, but they want to do everything that they can so that they can be right. Um, so when you are a person in this state of mind, when you're talking to a woman and you're arguing like that, there's no point whatsoever trying to reason with her. Unfortunately, what you can do is just let the conversation, I'm sorry, guys, just quit the conversation and go because nothing will get out of that. Okay? She probably wants just some psychological, let's say, support. Not support actually. She just wants to, let's say, feed her selfishness. That's what she wants at this point, and this is why she has this kind of reactions. When you see a person crying, when she should be practically saying that she's sorry, like, so instead of apologizing, you cry, but you're crying because you think that you are right and you want to prove that you are right, then you see some fundamental problems. Other people could tell you that this is what constitutes red flags, and I wouldn't disagree, to be honest. But yeah, there's not many things you can do, because behind that there's some fundamental problems which have to do with the way that she was brought up, with the way that she has learned to think and to react into situations, and with the contemporary situation, especially in this case, because it is more than obvious that she sees that her boyfriend is getting better, is getting in a better shape, is doing something actually better for himself, and she cannot, or that's what she thinks, she doesn't want to do the same for her. So she feels that the equilibrium, is getting lost here. This is something that we saw to the on the previous episode as well. So at the end, I tried to reason with her and she wouldn't listen. I ended up going to the dinner alone. I told a few people what happened and they said I should have just let her come like that. I didn't mean to offend her and I felt so terrible. There you go. There you go. So you have the guilt. Okay? And as always, what is going to happen? You are going to be in the environment, let's say, you're going to go to where you had to go, and they will see that you will go without the girl, and they will be like, oh, poor girl, this guy must have done something to her, or he must have offended her, and stuff like that, which, okay, most probably is not the case. Okay, we don't know the story from up front, we weren't there to see, but most probably that's not the case. But this is something that especially women take advantage of, and this is why they're crying, wanting to convince everyone that they're the victims, which they're not. She could have, like, we've been having problems ever since. I lost weight, but this has hit a new level, of course, and things are only about to get worse. You cannot, like, again, if you don't sit down and discuss, because this is what you should have done, like, in a healthy relationship, this is what you should have done. Okay, you would have sat down and discussed about the problems. Like, for example, do I feel, you have every right to feel jealous, for example, if you feel that you're in a bad situation, and you see your partner like getting in a better shape, in bettering a situation of themselves. Okay, it's more than obvious, we're not machines. But in a healthy relationship, when you have a problem, you're going to sit down and discuss about the problem, see what causes the problem, what the situation of the problem right now is, and what you can do to resolve that, to solve the problem, and what you can do to make the situation better. This is what you do. This is what you're supposed to do. Not do everything like this, what we see here. And this is why I have this today, fellas, so that we can see an unhealthy situation. So this is what you don't do. This is what you don't do, because if you do things like this, you will always have problems, and at the end, you will destroy practically the relationship and most probably your psychology, the psychology of your partner, and all this. I mean, look this at the end, as I said, about sorry, about the guy that, and again, we don't know exactly the story how it is, but I can like I guess you two fellas can imagine how it went. I mean, he is saying he is practically apologizing while she would have to be apologizing. Okay, so at the end of of the day, this guy now is full of guilt, which he shouldn't. So that's the thing. This is the epitome of a toxic relationship. At a point where you don't have anything to be blamed for, you get blamed for, and at the end, you get, you know, emotions and sensations, let's say, that you shouldn't get. And this is not healthy. So there are some more profound problems that this girl has. And we definitely hope that she can resolve them. But then again, as her boyfriend, you could understand this, okay? That it's her problems, and you could help her as much as you can. But it is more probable that you won't be able to, and then again, people would say that this is a red flag and that you should just quit the relationship. It is something that you could do, because usually without like strong intervention, but extremely strong intervention, usually by psychologists, these problems in these kinds of relationships cannot really be solved, even though I would hope for the opposite thing. Anyway, guys, stay tuned for the next one, okay, where we're going to have the conclusion of the story. And tell me about what you think. Give me your comments. Share the video, subscribe to the channel. Okay, support me here. Take care, fellas. See you on the next. Bye bye.